I'm Owen Hagencock. I'm Impact.com's Regional Vice President for Marketing in our EMEA region. I've been at Impact.com for around about 6 years. I've got a background in affiliate strategy across Europe for maybe 15 years in total. Makes me seem like a very old person, I'm afraid. But I really love the variety of different cultures that I get to work with in my everyday life. And so that's why I'm particularly excited to be hosting this panel on borderless partnerships. I've got a team of absolute experts with me, but before I turn it over to them to introduce themselves, I just want to talk about why borderless partnerships and global growth is so important. It's an absolutely massive area of opportunity for you wherever you are. So if you're sat here in Austin and you're looking at markets outside of the US, we're really going to talk about how you can enter those markets, which ones you can find, how to work out the right sort of market to choose. If you're outside the US and you've come here to make connections in the US as your new expansion area, then even better, that's another way of accessing a massive growth area. And partnerships as a whole are fantastic, especially if you use a single platform to manage those partnerships like Impact.com. So I'm going to shut up for a moment and I'm going to allow these guys to introduce themselves. Like I said, they're absolute pros. They're going to tell you who they are, they're going to tell you what they do, and they're going to tell you how far they've come to be here today, given we're talking about global growth. So I'm going to start with Courtney.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Brennan. I work at Acceleration Partners. We are a global performance marketing agency, and I sit on the influencer side of the house. We build, run, and scale creator programs for large enterprise clients and mid-market brands, and I flew 1,500 miles to get here.
Woo! Over to Alex.
Hey, guys. So I'm Alex Ratford. I am the Global VP of Growth Partnerships at Crypto.com. Luckily, the product is in the name. We are a crypto trading platform. We also offer some decentralized and traditional financial products. I flew for 11 hours to be here, so yeah, been a while.
Impressive, but I have a feeling James is going to one-up you.
Thanks. G'day, I'm James from Merry People, for those who can't tell the accent, from Australia as well. So flew 24 hours to get here. It's great to be here. Merry People is an outdoor lifestyle brand, been around the US for about 5 years, but been going for about 11 years. We sell rain boots, or gum boots is what we call them in Australia. So that's what I'm wearing right now, the Bobby boot. It sits between sort of a function and fashion, playful style, and sort of we're all over America, so encourage you guys to check it out.
I have a question for you, and it's not one that we prepared. How much did you pay Adam to do that advertorial this morning?
He's a bit cheaper than you think, actually. It's a free product, and you'd be surprised.
Brilliant. Yeah, they're a fantastic product. Yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to start us off by saying it's an interesting term, borderless partnerships. And I'm going to throw it over to Courtney first to say, what's your take on it? What does it mean to you in practice?
So from a creator lens, creators are inherently global and can move fluidly across markets because the audience loves the influencer, what they talk about, what they share, what they promote. And so for the audience, it's about who the creator is, not where they're located.
Agreed.
And so creators are a wonderful vessel for borderless partnership programs. And then in order to build one and for it to be strong, you have to have great infrastructure, and it's mainly having the tech so that those creators can be self-sufficient, move with ease through your platform and like it. And then my last part about creators and borderless partnerships and what's important is I think a lot of brands decide we're going to build this creator program, we're going to scale it, we're going to automate things, and they forget that there has to be a human touch component to it because the influencers They are people, they're not networks, they're not platforms. They have lots of thoughts, feelings, feedback. They want to know that there is a person on the other side of that partnership. And so that human touch component is really important too.
And I guess when a creator's designing their content, they're not thinking, hey, I'm keen to make it specifically for this individual market or region or whatever. They're just happy for anyone to consume that.
Yeah, they are. And I think the audience responds and consumes content that speaks to them, whether they follow an influencer because she's entertaining or she's helpful or she's joyful or she's aspirational. And I, just want to wear all her outfits. That's how we respond to people. So yeah, I mean, you could have creators that are location-based if they're telling you like cool places to eat in a city and things like that, but mostly geography doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Alex, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think from a brand perspective, it's an interesting one. Like, we're always looking at how we're set up and trying to make sure that we're set up to be able to work with anybody, anywhere, and putting any sort of blocker in place that stops you from being able to work with a creator is a huge problem. So from our perspective, borderless partnerships has almost been brought into everything that we do. We need to be set up in that way. We need to have that as at the forefront of everything that we kind of think about. It doesn't mean that it's always simple. There's restrictions of, can you talk about X product? Can you, are the advertising disclosure rules the same? All of that sort of stuff. But fundamentally, the way that you are set up really, really matters in terms of having those borderless partnerships. And so designing for simplicity, designing for a cross-border approach is really, really critical.
Yeah, agreed. We're going to change tacks a little bit. I'm going to ask James an equally challenging question, I'm afraid. I want you to take us back to a moment when a local partner helped you break into a new market that had previously been a real challenge for you.
Yeah, cool. I think, the US is probably a good example. So in Australia, we're a well-known brand, sort of a household brand, and that, we've got strong credibility as we're well-loved and got strong brand awareness. But then we're entering the US market with huge competition, potential oversaturation within a market, no brand awareness, therefore no credibility, because you haven't really started anywhere. So we tackled that by really trying to work with partners to, I guess, talk to the quality of our product and brand. And so I guess, the earlier panels were talking around trust. I mean, I just call it credibility internally, and that, how do we build credibility in a market that, we don't have connections with, or, we're actually based in Australia as well. And we found that partners, CNN voted for us the best rain boot in the market, and we saw huge sales from that, just instant, I guess, validation. Wirecutter and New York Times, again, also test our product and put us into a listicle, which, 4 years now, it's been repurposed a number of times. This has turned over huge amounts of revenue because the articles just continue to repurpose. And I know SEO is changing, but still people, or particularly our customers, who are looking for problems and problems to be solved. I mean, I'm not a Gen Z, so I still use Google. But Google, and typing in what my problem is and whether it's around wet feet or having a waterproof option, Merry People's now featuring the top of those big articles because of what we've been doing with affiliate, and that just brings a credibility and trust that we can't create through our own social ads. So that's been something that has worked really well for us in the US market.
Yeah, I guess that's so key, right? It's leveraging the trust that those partners already have with their audiences to say, right, here's a product, I need to speak to 1 or 2 people to allow them to review this product, to then extend that trust into an entire country.
Absolutely, and it goes for perpetuity. Once it's live, typically articles get repurposed, or so it's not just a one and done piece. Like you do see for years, in some instances, benefits, which is obviously fantastic as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Courtney,
Really
we're coming to you. Oh, sorry, did you want to add something, Alex?
Yeah, I think it really nicely circles back to something that Dave spoke about this morning in terms of AI search, and they use partners' content and partners' credibility to essentially feed the answers that they provide. And so a lot of those listicles are probably going to be adding in, the source was this website.
Yep.
And that's adding value for the future.
Yes.
When you see the source in AI results, how often do you actually check where the source comes from? Or do you see the source and just say, I know it's well justified?
Yeah, I think that's a really key one, isn't it? It's do you even check it? Is the source itself a reputable source? How has the AI chosen that source? But I think the key that we're seeing is that you need to be listed there in the first place. And you need to, it does seem to be quite good at picking top-ranked, top-quality publishers.
Agreed. And then I guess the challenge is then how to measure that impact, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. Courtney, when you're evaluating potential partners in a new region, what are the key signals that tell you someone is worth betting on?
So 2 main things we focus on is aligning on the creator selection criteria. So when we're going into a new region or a new market, like looking at qualitative and quantitative data, saying, what is the engagement rate threshold? What are the video views we're looking for? Do we have any insight on what the click-through and conversion rate should be? And then also looking at the content aesthetically, like does it line up with the brand? What is the tone of it? Is the brand safe? And then the second, maybe more important part is having that boots on the ground info, like in-market insight on nuance that you have to have. You just can't glean data from the internet and think you're gonna know what works in another market. And so, plug for AP, we're a global agency, so we have lots of folks everywhere, experts in regions and markets, and so tapping them to help us build a plan or a program to go into a new space. And if you don't do that, I would definitely recommend tapping into like a local agency that can give you that insight so that you are set up for success.
Agreed. Anything you'd want to add to that, James?
I think, we talk around localized partners. So I guess, again, using the example of being in Australia, we're in the UK, we're in the US. And so, our product is an outdoor product. So it was interesting when you say geography doesn't matter as much. And I definitely see, but I can see why you think that as well. But for us as well, it's really important because of terrain and being the outdoors in the US is very different to the outdoors in the UK and Australia. So, and when our product is an outdoors product, we need to show that, and it's around like adventure and joy. And so the outdoors is where we feature a lot in our content. So we find it's really important to have creators from a localized area, and that might even be Northeast and Northwest USA as well, being quite different. The UK being geographically a lot smaller place, there probably won't be the need for that. But then again, accents are really important as well.
Yeah,
we have tried AI voiceovers, which they're hit and miss. And I guess as a brand where one of your values is authenticity, that's still something that we're, struggling to sort of get our heads around, what is authentic and what isn't. And I guess AI being, not a real person's voice, that's sort of, a bit of a blurry line for us at times.
Yeah, and I guess you fall on a really salient point, right, which is that creators particularly, you can get more and more niche. And as Dave was mentioning this morning, this guy from the CEO of Unilever is saying we want to have influencers in each individual postcode in Brazil, in India as well. So I guess when terrain is such a factor, that makes a real difference for you.
Yeah, totally. I think it's just, it's super important. And I think, we are, again, a functional product. We know our interests. And so it's around just getting the product in people's hands and not being too prescriptive of it either, and just saying, these are the proof points. And then we want you to, at the end of the day, we're selling gumboots, right? So it's not, shouldn't be serious. We're joyful, we're happy. So the point is, have the creative license and, live the brand if you've got the shared values as well.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe that they've come out of Australia rather than rainy old UK. But there you go. Alex, I'd love to turn to you to tell me about a time when you've failed with international expansion. I know it's not an easy question to answer, but there must be a way where these guys in the audience can learn from your mistakes rather than having to make the same ones themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've also almost touched on some of this throughout in terms of good advice, but not localizing enough, not thinking about the research that you need to do to get not just a product into market, but also the partners that promote that product into market. there's no limit to that. The more you do, the better the outcome's going to be fundamentally. But I think one of the key, the key moment that stands out to me is I was working at a wellness brand, and we were launching into Asia. And we thought we had everything set up. It was all going to be perfect. We're just going to sort of waltz in and take over. And yeah, I mean, we clearly didn't do enough research. We had to pull some products that were actually prohibited from sale, and had to completely remove those. And then, because we needed to do that, we had to build a whole new product list and send the new version. And in doing that, we then kept some of the Western versions of that, of the product features, and they just didn't resonate with the Asian market at all. And so we ended up having to essentially go to our KOLs in that market and listen to them about what they thought the key sort of features were of the product that would really engage with their audiences. And fundamentally, I mean, the way that we learned from that was we then changed our approach. So when we next moved into a market, we went actually to the KOLs first and started to speak to them about, like, okay, what would resonate for this new product that we want to launch? What should we focus on? Because almost we didn't have the boots on the ground. We knew we weren't going to be able to get boots on the ground there, but we could use those KOLs almost as a pseudonym for an agency.
Yeah, and so you identify those people in advance, I take it, and then leverage their expertise and take them on that journey as well, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Courtney, I'd love to come to you to get your take on something that we've been discussing quite a bit during the course of today. So in a world obsessed with viral content,
Yep.
which James alluded to a lot in this morning's session, Ben, how do you focus on building long-term relationships that are trust-based, that partners with guys, creators particularly, that can scale globally?
So we always say that going viral is a bonus, not the strategy. And one thing we do at AP that I'm really proud of is we really do lean into building strong relationships with creators, because creators give you your best feedback on what's working in the program, what's not, how to incentivize and optimize them in new ways. And creators give you the best feedback on your competitors and their programs. We get the best insight on what the other enterprise programs are doing, what we need to do to level the playing field, how we get ahead, where we need to pivot. And so since we have that relationship with those creators, it's a two-way street. They're always engaged in the program. And so then we have increased the likelihood that your content will go viral like fairly often. Because if just going viral once is the strategy, you go viral on TikTok and yay for 2 days, then what? But if you have a strong program that creators like, they want to be a part of, you're gamifying it for them, they're excited, they're telling their friends about it, the program is growing, they're posting content, they're driving revenue and increasing the likelihood that you could you'll go viral a lot. So, yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome. Like, I love that idea of using creators as an extension of your competitive analysis as well.
They give us so much tea. It is just, and like, you know, from an agency lens, like I work on behalf of the brand, and that's one of the best things I can do for my clients is to have that edge and that know-how and what's going on. So yeah, it's really important.
It's like talking to the customer, understanding the pain points, and now you're essentially talking to the creator who knows the market almost as well as the brand.
Yeah, these especially, you know, not every creator out there, but a large portion, they are so sophisticated and just plugged into everything. So great resource. Yeah.
Agreed. All right, so if we zoom out a bit and we look at we're managing our creators, our partners, and we're trying to do it across multiple markets around the world. James, I'm interested if you have any thoughts on what the benefits of doing that through a single platform are.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, just resources from a timing point of view, and I guess, we use Impact across all our markets. So we have, connecting through Shopify and then Impact across Australia, US, UK, being able to pay partners out in local currencies, being able to obviously onboard partners with different legal terms and templates that we need to provide based on different privacy laws across the regions as well. That's super important. And then just being able to have, where we've got one agency working on it, so instead of, and them having to access multiple different platforms, I guess you're saving money from the basis that you're not paying multiple subscription fees is probably the most obvious one. But yeah, it's mostly just the ease, I guess, from someone who just wants to see things, being able to open up one platform and toggle between entities, and the fact that the reporting is the same across each entity. Even in Shopify, I feel sometimes, I love it. Just that, there is different viewpoints across the market sometimes, and so I find that with the fact that impact is identical, makes it just that ease.
Easier to compare, easier to acknowledge, but still allows you to pay in those local currencies, still allows you to adjust for those local tax issues or legal considerations.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is there's partners that are global as well. So we've worked with Skimlinks across multiple different geographies, and the fact that you can see where Skimlinks is rated in Australia versus the US and the UK, that just naturally sticks out quite clearly. Okay, well clearly this market is different. Why is that? Is that a good thing, a bad thing, whatever it might be? And then you can sort of look. I just feel like it just sticks out a lot more around what the opportunities are.
Yeah, agreed. That's awesome, mate. Alex, I'd love to come to you and to ask, beyond revenue, what signals do you look to know that partnership is really delivering value across global markets?
Yeah, I think for us, we look at a couple of different things. So, you have the main revenue that everybody's looking at, but outside of that, we're very much focused on how engaged is the audience with the content and how much is the user essentially getting from it. So we'll look at engagement rates. We'll look at not just the, revenue of the customer, but in terms of when you have a customer who is purchasing, how often do they come back? How often are they, for us, trading? How often are they spending more than a certain value? And also, what's the general quality of that customer? So we won't just look at that initial revenue. I think we have two different views. One is kind of pre-partnership, where we're looking to understand, are you a good potential partner? And we've obviously got limited information. So we're taking a bit of a guess and prioritizing based off of that information. And then we're looking at, okay, we've then got a short list and we can ask for a bit more information up front and try and whittle that list down a bit more. Then when you are partnered, you can then cut that down a bit more and you can say, okay, we now need to see who's performing and how they're performing. So revenue is an end point, but actually there's value in having the content, like we spoke about that very briefly earlier. There's value in also being able to utilize those partners to improve your go-to-market strategy for other products in future. And so the end-to-end relationship, there are bits of it which are hard to put into an ROI number, but that you really do need to consider across all partnerships.
Yeah, agreed. Do you guys have anything to add to that? Or?
I think from a creator program perspective, our biggest indicator outside of revenue is when influencers refer their friends to join our program. There is no better seal of approval. There is no better advertising, because creators, they talk to each other, they know each other, they look out for each other. And so when creators like our programs and are referring their other high revenue driving friends, we are thrilled.
Agreed. I want to come back to you, Courtney. I'm going to ask you, because you work for an agency yourself, but if an agency or a brand is looking to expand into a new market through affiliate or influencer partnerships, what's the first step you think they must take before launching?
There are two.
Always. There's always one first step prior to the second step.
Okay, you're right. Okay, so the first step is, I think, market readiness, making sure that there is audience demand for your product and our creators already organically talking about it on social, like validating that first. And then the second biggest part, especially from an agency lens, is really setting and managing client expectations around budgets. So US creators are cheaper than UK creators, and UK creators are usually less expensive than creators in European markets. And in the UK and in Europe, the affiliate influencer model is gaining traction, but it's not the standard. It really is the paid campaign flat fee model. And so you have to have budget to play in those spaces. And so being able to say to the client, you will need this to work with a certain amount of creators, and then referencing what we talked about for having some in-market expertise on creator preferences, any cultural expectations or differences.
Yeah.
That's what I would say would be most important when you are looking to start a creator program in a new area.
I agree on those points. I really do. And I value that there are 2 steps.
Oh, thank you.
The first
Yes.
step. Cool. I've got a question for you all now. Looking ahead, what do you see as the most exciting, untapped opportunity in global partnership-led growth? I'm going to come to you first, James.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about geography expansion. We really focus around depth before breadth. So that is being whatever markets you're in, make the most of that and don't stretch yourselves so thin that you're not doing really anything well. So we're currently in the US, the UK, we have been in Canada as well, and really about just owning those markets and where we are. And so the US is one where we're still working through, we've got pockets where we want to own further and have a localized approach that's more authentic, and then building out. So it's really about creating, an authentic and connection and community, which I feel like we naturally do, but in our Australian and in the UK markets, the US one has taken a little bit longer just because the product, you need to explain why they need the product, which is obviously a more challenging question than just saying to the UK customer who understands they need the product, why they're Merry People. We're very good at that, but explaining why this category is important. So it's really finding local creators and content who content creators as well that can build out authentic partnerships that then can just sort of drive into their local neighbourhoods.
That's awesome. Courtney, what's your take?
So from a creator perspective, what's coming down the line and is exciting is AI tools that will allow creators to even further customize and personalize the shopping experience for their followers. So the follower clicks through their link, on an IG story and takes them to their product page, having a capability there where an AI version of a creator comes up and can take the customer through that page, how they would style it, what they would pick, personalizing and taking them on that journey. And then also some AI tools in the creator space that will allow creators to very quickly and easily analyze content that's doing well.
Yeah.
Whether well means it's getting great engagement or it's driving lots of revenue, but helping creators identify why is that working, and then the tools to create more content like that quickly is what is coming next and is exciting.
That is exciting. Right, our final one. Alex, what is exciting for you?
Yeah, I think we've touched a lot on this, but flexibility and personalization to partners is probably the most exciting thing for me right now. I think there's a lot of brands who are looking at, here's our little world and this is the shape that it's in. And I think we're seeing that there's not one size that fits all. There's not one perfect approach for everybody. And I think we've spoken about why on this panel quite a lot. But actually being able to do that well and being able to do that at scale is still quite tough, right? You can't build 900 contracts in Impact. I mean, you can, but it's just going to take a lot of time. And so that for us is, how do you scale that and how do you really grow that flexibility at pace? And that for me is really exciting right now. That's how I can see my team growing to the next 500 partnerships that we do.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's all we've got time for, sadly. So give me a round of applause for Alex, Courtney, and James.